Not Unclean was originally called Unplugged Desire. I'll never forget because I showed up to do one of the early shows for it, and the woman who had booked me at the church said, "I'm really looking forward to Unplugged Desire," and I was like, "Well, you can look forward all you want. It's not unclean anymore." But it was originally going to be an acoustic record, just guitar and vocal, and I was going to go into one of those places at the mall where you could get a video made of yourself, and I was just going to record a bunch of songs that way, and then hijack the sound off of it and slap it on a CD and call it my first record, because I had no money to work with and really didn't know what I was doing. And a friend of mine called me and told me that I had to come to his house and see what he had, and he had something similar to Pro Tools on his computer, and he wanted to show me what it was capable of doing. And he said, "So if you ever want to record a record," and I go, "Well, it's funny you should mention that." So we started working together, and I had about 12 songs ready to go on acoustic guitar, and they were all really well behaved and pretty, and the day I was supposed to go over and start recording, I was practicing before I left the house, and a voice thundered from heaven that said, "Poser," and I was like, God just called me a poser. Wow. I said, "So what's your problem?" He goes, "Well, they're going to find out anyways. They're going to find out I'm gay. No, they're going to find out that you're purposely recording a record to make them like you and not really doing what's in your heart or what's even in your talent." And so I said, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And the song "Sad Christmas" popped in my head, and I'd written that years back, but an arrangement for it with a really, I want to say like 70s style rock pianos, something that maybe Elton John did on Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, and that David Bowie had on Watch That Man. And my friend who was recording me, Brad, played drums, and he had a really nice piano in his house. So I showed up that day, and he was all set up for me to play the guitar and sing, and I said, "No, we're going to do something different. God spoke." So he got on drums, I got on piano, we started recording, and we recorded a few quick versions of Sad Christmas, and well, the sound was born. Irony would have it, I guess, that Sad Christmas never even ended up on the record, nor did Brad on drums, nor did Brad record that record. We had a quick falling out, and he ended up giving me a bootleg version of his recording program for my computer, which in turn wiped out my computer. So I was right back where I started from. I had no record, I had no plan, I didn't have any ideas, and I had God telling me to do this. And I was scheduled to do an acoustic show in Kingman, Arizona at a Southern Baptist church the day that my computer died. And I drove there crying the whole way because, well, I quit my job to follow the leading of the Lord, and I really blew it. And I got there, and the pastor came up to me and welcomed me to his church, and we had never met, he had never heard me, he didn't know anything about me, and he said to me, he goes, "Are you planning on recording a CD?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Would you like to use my studio? I'll record you for free." And I said, "Why on earth are you saying that?" And he said, this really was a quiet spot when I picked it. And he said, "I don't know, I just feel like I should offer you that." Well, that was Weston Burnside, and it was the beginning of an amazing personal and professional and spiritual friendship. that lasted up to his untimely death a couple years ago, and so I was scheduled to record Not Unclean, which wasn't Not Unclean yet, but it was an Unplugged Desire. I had no idea what I was going to do. I think the working title at the time, rocks I could throw at people who are noisy. I think the working title at the time was either Still Desire, because I thought that was provocative, or it might have been Sad Christmas. I'm not sure. I really don't remember. All I know is I didn't have a song list, I didn't have a band, I didn't have a plan. I just had a place to record and the calling of God to do it. And so I went back and started piecing it all together and started writing new songs and trying to come up with a plan, a theme, an idea that was more true to my heart. I knew that I always wanted to do concept records, and that I needed to come up with a theme for the record and stick to the theme. I had thousands and thousands of songs to choose from. I started writing when I was 10, and writing good songs since I was 10, not goofy love songs. I was a composer from very young, and I was really trying to find the voice of the record, and we had scheduled recording time, and I was at a church in Las Vegas, and the pastor did a sermon on leprosy, and he equated modern gay culture to that of the lepers, and that's how the gays are treated by the churches, and at the end of his sermon he said, you know, the thing we have to remember is that in Jesus' eyes there are no lepers. We're just sons and daughters. And I sat there and I was just crushed. I was like, well, there you go. I don't have any songs for my record. I don't have anything, because there's nothing I've written in my life that says what this man has said. And this is what I need to center my work on. This is what my work needs to be about. This is what my ministry needs to be about. I need to get out there and reach anybody and everybody that feels like they're nothing in the eyes of God. And my favorite artist of all time, Diamanda Galas, put out a book called The Shit of God, and the concept was that, you know, we're all sons and daughters except the people we don't like, so they can just be the shit of God. And I said, you know, that's who I want to reach. That's who I feel like, that's who I've always felt like, and that's who I want to go after, is the shit of God. And so I did, and I sat there at the church and I wrote the words to what would become Jesus' Eyes, Not Unclean. And on the way home I sang the song over and over again until I came up with a melody for it, and that became the first official song of the new record, the first record, and it became the title track. And I pay a little homage to Diamanda on the record with my screaming unclean. It sounds suspiciously like her, but it really is me. And the first song on the record was Lord. And Lord I wrote October 13th, 1982, the night that I accepted Jesus as my Lord and Savior. I had been touched by God that night and raised my hand at church and very, very consciously made a life choice, knowing full well at 19 years old that I had truly met the true and living God. And I came home and everyone was asleep and I was so excited, and I didn't know what to do, but I had this piano in my room that I had bought with my bar mitzvah money at 13. And I sat down at the piano and I wrote, Lord, when they laughed at you, I was laughing too. And I just sat there and cried my eyes out. Cried my eyes out.